Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Javier Cifuentes-Faura from Spain. I'm going to make a presentation entitled Creating an SDG 12 based framework to measure progress toward a circular economy. Thank you for inviting me to the International Conference on Business and Policy Studies. The United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, through the implementation of 17 Sustainable Development Goals and 169 specific targets, aims to promote peace, prosperity, and well-being for people and the planet. In this context, it seeks to promote a circular economy model that transforms the way societies produce and consume, promoting a more sustainable and regenerative approach. This approach is based on closing the life cycle of products, promoting the reuse, recycling, and recovery, which contributes to a more efficient management of resources. Among the SDGs, several are aligned with the fundamental principle of circularity, making the indicators designed for these goals key tools for assessing the transition to a circular economy. A prominent example is SDG 12, focus on responsible consumption and production, which aims to reduce waste generation through prevention, reduction, recycling, and reuse. This SDG underlines the importance of adopting sustainable consumption and production patterns to mitigate environmental degradation and natural resource depletion. Fulfilling SDG 12 is essential to ensure a balanced ecosystems and promote responsible use of resources, especially in the face of a rapidly growing world population. SDG 12 also seeks to decouple economic growth from environmental degradation by addressing critical problems such as food loss and waste, which contribute significantly to pollution and resource depletion. Furthermore, it focuses on increasing resource efficiency and promoting sustainable consumption, as well as overcoming constraints in areas such as agriculture, storage, infrastructure, packaging, and marketing. Production and consumption indicators play a central role in monitoring progress towards a circular economy, as outlined in the European Union Circular Economy Action Plan. These indicators are not only essential for assessing progress towards SDG 12, but also provide a clear picture of waste generation and resource efficiency. In doing so, they facilitate the realization of both economic and environmental benefits, which are essential for the effective implementation of the circular economy. The aim of this work is to develop an index based on the SDG 12 indicators to rank European Union countries according to their level of compliance. This approach will not only provide a clearer picture of each country's performance in terms of responsible consumption and production, but will also facilitate the identification of those countries that are leading the way in implementing sustainable policies. These countries will be able to act as role models, offering strategies and practices that other states could adopt to move towards a more circular and sustainable economy. Having a clear ranking based on objective indicators will help policymakers and stakeholders to assess the impact of national and international strategies related to sustainability. This incentivizes progress and innovation in the implementation of circular economic practices. SDG 12 focuses on transforming the current pattern of production and consumption to ensure more efficient and sustainable management of natural resources. The United Nations has established 8 main objectives, 12.1 to 12.8, and 3 sub-goals, 12.A, 12.B, and 12.C, which collectively address various aspects of responsible consumption and production. These indicators are associated with most of the SDG 12 targets. Raw material consumption and energy productivity correspond to target 12.2, sustainable management and efficient use of natural resources by 2030. Consumption footprint relates to target 12.1, implementation of the 10-year framework of programs on sustainable consumption and production patterns. Circular material use rate and generation of waste by hazardousness are directly linked to target 12.5, substantial reduction of waste generation through prevention, reduction, recycling, and reuse activities by 2030. Also, SDG 12.5.1 address target 12.4, environmentally sound management of chemicals and all waste throughout their life cycle. Gross value added in environmental goods and service sector reflects progress on target 12.6, encourage companies to adopt sustainable practice and incorporate sustainability information in their reforming cycle, and partially on target 12.7, promote sustainable public procurement practices. Average CO2 emissions per kilometer from new passenger cars is indirectly related to target 12.7, promote sustainable public procurement practices, as it reflects the results of sustainable transport policies that include public procurement. Targets not included in this study is related to 12.8, 12.8, 12.B, and 12.C. Refers to aspects such as education for sustainable development, support to developing countries to strengthen their specific capacity, development of tools for monitoring impacts of sustainable tourism, and rationalization of fossil fuel subsidies. These targets are not explicitly included in the indicators due to the limited availability of comparable and standardized data at the European Union member state level. Given the nature of this indicator, three of them are directly positively related to sustainability. Increases in the indicator imply progress towards sustainability, circular material use rate, gross value added in environmental goods and service sector, and energy productivity. A higher value in any of these indicates greater efficiency in energy use and material recycling, which is fundamental for a circular and sustainable economy. The other indicators are inversely negatively related to sustainability, as an increase in their values implies higher environmental pressure or less efficient use of resources. So the country disaggregated indicators used by the European Commission in its SDG 12 monitoring framework are shown in this table. Raw material consumption, consumption footprint single weighted score, circular material use rate, generation of waste by hazardousness, gross value added in environmental goods and services sector, energy productivity, and average CO2 emissions per kilometer from new passenger cars. Unlike other existing circular economy indexes, such as the Circular Economy Monitoring Framework, the Circularity Gap Report, or the Material Circularity Indicator, the index proposed in this study is constructed exclusively from official indicators of SDG 12 provided by Eurostat. This approach ensures comparability among the European Union countries and enables a direct assessment of the progress toward the international targets on responsible production and consumption defined in the 2030 Agenda, the SDG 12. So this is very important. So in order to make the best use of the available information and to ensure a holistic view, the average value of each of these indicators has been calculated for this work. As these indicators use different units of measurement, a transformation of the data has been carried out in order to standardize them. So this process distinguishes between direct or positive indicators, where a higher value indicates greater progress towards the target, and inverse negative indicators, where a higher value indicates a lower level of achievement of the proposed target. So in the first case, you can see the chain, how it would be with that equation, and in the second one, you can see also in the screen how is this equation. Once the new indicator values have been calculated with these transformations, the regions can be ranked. The region with the highest value, for example, the one with a value of 1, is the one with the highest sustainability for that indicator and would be considered as a reference region for that indicator. To establish a ranking between the regions, the Euclidean distance from each region I to the reference region is calculated. In this way, the resulting value becomes a synthetic indicator of the relative level of achievement of SDG 12, allowing the regions to be ranked according to their proximity to the reference region. This ranking establishes an order among the regions, where the region with the highest value reflects greater relative progress in achieving this goal compared to the others. This approach provides a comparative measure between the countries analyzed but does not necessarily reflect absolute compliance with the SDG 12 targets. A country well positioned in the ranking could still be far from fully achieving the targets set by United Nations, while one with a lower position could have made significant progress in absolute terms. So the results should therefore be interpreted as a tool for relative comparison between European Union countries and not as a definitive measure of success in implementing SDG 12. So here in this table, you can see the average values of the SDG 12 indicators for each country, for Austria, Belgium, Bulgaria, Croatia, Cyprus, Czechia, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, etc. The average values for the indicators present in the table, and for example, for raw materials consumption, SDG 12.21, Netherlands shows the lowest value, while Finland reaches the highest value, indicating that Finland is the country with the worst position on this indicator. In the case, for example, of circular material use rate, this is SDG 12.41, Ireland has the lowest value and Netherlands the highest. In this context, the Netherlands is better positioned, as higher values for this indicator indicate greater progress in sustainability. After transforming the above indicators with the direct or inverse criterion as appropriate, the distance to the reference region has been calculated. The three best ranked countries are Italy, Netherlands, and France, while those farthest away from the reference region are Bulgaria, Finland, and Estonia. Using the Manhattan distance instead of the Euclidean distance, the ranking remains very similar, as evidenced by a Spearman correlation coefficient of 0.942. In this division, it is observed that better ranked countries tend to have more advanced policies and practices in relation to the efficient use of natural resources, the promotion of the circular economy, and waste reduction. The Netherlands, for example, leads in circular material use rate, SDG 1241, indicating a strong focus on the reuse and recycling of materials. This is consistent with the findings of Potinanol, for example, who highlighted that the Netherlands has implemented comprehensive national strategies for the circular economy with ambitious targets for 2013 and 2015. Italy and France have also implemented progressive policies to reduce waste and encourage recycling. With France's anti-waste and circular economy law of 2020 being particularly noteworthy for its comprehensive approach. In addition, these countries have economic sectors linked to environmental goods and services, which contributes to the further integration of sustainability into their economies. In this sense, for example, the work of Rizos et al. In 2021 confirmed that countries with better results in circular economy indicators also tend to invest more in eco-innovation and development of new sustainable business models. So countries further away from the reference region need to implement measures in key areas. Finland, for example, has the highest value in raw material consumption, which reflects a less efficient use of resources, affecting its ranking. This result is in line with that reported by Cepala et al. In 2019, this work, who identified the intensive Finnish forestry and metallurgical industry as significant contributors to its high raw material consumption. Bulgaria and Estonia are the worst positioned in energy productivity and generation of waste by hazardousness. They have difficulties in implementing circular and sustainable systems, with higher rates of waste generation or lower efficiency in the use of recycled materials. Mihalov et al. In 2019 analyzed also the challenges faced by Eastern European countries in implementing circular economy strategies, noting that the lack of adequate infrastructure and robust public policies in these areas are barriers to the transition to the circular economy. So all these results are consistent, for example, with a study by Robina et al. In 2020, who identified an implementation gap in circular economy between Northern and Western European countries versus Eastern and Southern European countries, attributing it to differences in institutional capacities, the investment, and infrastructure development. So now we go with the main conclusion of this study. In the pursuit of sustainable production and consumption, the European Union has established a set of indicators aimed at assessing the progress of policy implemented towards this goal. So this work contributes to the understanding of the degree of compliance with SDG 12, visualizing progress towards key targets such as waste reduction, efficient use of resources, and the adoption of sustainable patterns of production and consumption. The analysis has led to the creation of a ranking in which countries such as Italy, the Netherlands, France, Austria, and Spain stand out stand out as the best position. In contrast, Bulgaria, Finland, Estonia, Luxembourg, and Ireland are at the bottom of the ranking. This disparity in performance suggests that the European Commission should implement more adequate policies to support the countries with the last progress, ensuring that they meet the goals of the 2030 Agenda. These countries need to make sustained efforts and adjustment in their production and consumption patterns to align with common sustainable development and environmental goals. The study also reinforces the importance of harmonizing policies at the European level, which is crucial to ensure equitable and collaborative progress toward the SDGs. As a follow-up to this research, it could be advisable to explore the possibility of including new indicators to monitoring SDG 12 more comprehensively and to determine whether it is necessary to apply weightings that reflect the relevance of certain indicators over others. So this is the end of the presentation. Thank you so much for your attention. It has been a pleasure to participate in this conference as a keynote speaker. Thank you.